It's by far the worst national ID scheme the statists have come up with yet. They're still hiding their true intentions, but in the wake of recent events, the statists believe they have the perfect excuse to ratchet up their attacks on our remaining liberties. Right now, the so-called Gang of Eight in the United States Senate, including Senators John McCain, Lindsey Graham, and Chuck Schumer, are working with President Obama to sneak this massive national ID card power grab into a new immigration reform law that's being used as a cover for all sorts of statist madness. Hello, this is Dr. Ron Paul, Chairman of Campaign for Liberty, with an urgent message. I hardly know where to begin. The 844-page so-called immigration reform monstrosity is a statist dream. Not only does this bill increase federal spending, it mandates every American carry a national ID card with their photo and creates a new federal database containing biometric information on every American, such as fingerprints and retinal scans. The card would be required for all U.S. workers regardless of place of birth, making it illegal for anyone to hold a job in the United States who doesn't attain an ID card. All employers would be required to purchase an ID scanner to verify the ID cards by making sure the information on the card matches the information in the federal database. So every time any citizen applies for a job, the government would know, and you can bet it's only a matter of time until ID scans will be required to travel, attend public events, or even make routine purchases as well. Of course, the most dangerous part is the biometric tracking technology, which would allow federal bureaucrats to track our every move. This is exactly the type of battle that often decides whether a country remains free or continues down a slide toward tyranny. Once government bureaucrats know exactly how we live our lives, it won't be long until they ramp up their efforts to run them. It will only be a matter of time until they spend their work days making sure you and I don't go anywhere, read anything, eat anything, or drink anything they think we shouldn't. Once that door opens, how long will it be before the statists start telling us what we can teach our children or where we can go to church? But while most Americans get caught up with the talk of amnesty, paths to citizenship, and other hot-button political buzzwords, these are simply being used as a cover by the statists in both parties who want to conceal the real threat. That's why I'm hoping you'll sign your No National ID petitions to Campaign for Liberty immediately to make your voice clearly heard on this critical issue. If there is good news to report, it's that thanks to the help of activists like you, liberty-minded Americans have been able to render the big government politicians' previous national ID schemes nearly toothless in numerous states across the country. But now the statists have an answer for that. Instead of mandating that individual states comply with new standards, the federal government will just take over the process and claim there's nothing to fear about tying a tamper-proof biometric Social Security card into a national database containing photos and other information. Well, you and I know better. It could hardly be worse. That's why I hope you'll take action today. The only way to defeat a national ID card is to contact Americans from coast to coast and explain exactly what's at stake. With your help, Campaign for Liberty can send powerful emails and run Facebook and Internet banner ads to alert liberty-loving Americans to the national ID scheme included in the new Comprehensive Immigration Reform Bill. But I'm afraid that simply won't be enough. Campaign for Liberty staff tells me if Campaign for Liberty can pull out all the stops, there's an additional 12 million folks they can reach through their targeted direct mail and phone programs. And finally, if they can raise the resources, Campaign for Liberty would also like to run a hard-hitting newspaper, radio, and TV ads explaining the threat we face with a new national ID card. Of course, such a massive grassroots mobilization program isn't cheap. But it's the only way to stop this dangerous national ID scheme from becoming the law of the land. Because this fight is so critical, I'm counting on you to make the most generous contribution you can to help Campaign for Liberty defeat the statist national ID scheme. Passage of the national ID card would virtually guarantee the last vestiges of freedom we enjoy as Americans would be seriously jeopardized. So no matter how much you give, your contribution is urgently needed and will be deeply appreciated. Please sign your No National ID petitions to Campaign for Liberty to make your voice heard. And then send the most generous contribution you can afford right away to help Campaign for Liberty defeat the statist national ID scheme.